live with all of the folks who don't have Valentine's Day Friday evening plans. And we've got Dan E. Boyd and Lars and the One-Eyed Cat and Unfinished Project. Lars, for whatever reason, put up this 11 years ago today. It was the first video I posted on YouTube. It's kind of funny. It's a goofy one. It's my neighbor trying to get up in the garage with his truck in the snow without shoveling the driveway. I didn't realize that was 11 years ago today, but apparently it was. And Unfinished Project puts up a totally unrelated video on some other channel, just happened to be in this town. It was 2 days earlier. Don says people must be busy. Well, they can do what they want. It's Friday evening, and I'm live. Whoever wants to join is welcome. Frizzell's here early tonight. That's cool. Dust Devil Garage. He says, screw Valentine's Day. Yeah, it's the 45th day of the year, and it's just cold, and glad it'll be over in 3 hours and 58 minutes. Indecisive Garage Tim says he'll be listening in sick with the flu. Yeah, the flu ran through a bunch of people, me included. But he made some lasagna, and man, that looked good. The pan of smoked lasagna. Makes me hungry. 6th Street Garage is here, which the lasagna got 500 views, which is a robbery. It should have gotten more. And there is said short. So when he's not out running the first E4OD that came out of Cope's shop, he's making smoked lasagna. And Don can eat lasagna 3 days, but I could eat it 7 days a week. I knew a pizza delivery driver one time that ate pizza twice a day, every day, 7 days a week. He was a very eccentric character and one of the highest IQ people I have ever known. He was extremely intelligent, but he had all these eccentricities, and he was just an interesting character. He could do cube roots in his head, but he just, there's a lot of things he couldn't stick with. So who knows? He's probably a pizza delivery driver today. But he was a good one. He made a lot of money. Colleen is here. Mohawk 62. LSS Drone Photography. I hear he put up an interesting interview on his channel with an intoxicated, inebriated acquaintance. Turbo Tom says 45 days smoke free because Travis said he was quitting too. Right on. Congratulations. SSR Performance, aka Big James. Thanks for swinging by. Bigfoots and Mopars, 38 Racing. Grand Pito Vic. Pure Pontiac Garage. Mean Street Mopar. Is this your year, Mean Street Mopar? You're at 276 subs. Come on, man. Make it happen, Captain. We've got Levi here. Good evening, Horsepower Junkies. Okay. B&R is here. JB's Little Shop. My Aunt Nancy's watching. Howdy. NSB Custom Cars. Rabbit Transit J. Danny Boyd says, Hallmark holiday, if you say so. That's his way of admitting that he likes to watch Hallmark. Because I can totally see Danny Boyd watching Hallmark after his 18-pack. Grand Pito Vic, that's his cynical Valentine's Day message here. Hot Rod Guy Garage, howdy. Ed's Machine. Nick the Van Man 90. Happy Valentine's Day. My Valentine's Day was unemployment for a few hours today, but it's been rectified. Okay. What's B&R have to say? My wife across the USA said Happy Valentine's Day back this morning. As my boy's only been gone 16 months now. For you men, the mother-in-law was more important. This is secret information. Let's see here. His addendum to that is, remember, you're just dirt next to the mother-in-law. Oh, boy. Let's see here. Lars puts up a link to Mean Street Mopar, No Name 500 contender. Start making us some content, man. You can do it. Danny Boyd hadn't had cable in years. Got cable internet. Says he only watches car movies pretty much. Yeah. I got to tell you, I mean, there's not a lot of movies on TV worth watching. Unless this drone says it's a slow takeoff, no pun intended. Busted Radio Garage, taking a break for a few minutes. Howdy. Thanks for swinging by, Chris. Bobby Frizzell says, me and the wife went out early for Valentine's Day, race fuel, burnouts, and pizza, now back home for the night. Now, see, if that's what Valentine's Day was, more people get behind that. Nick says, unfortunately, I'm out of the exhaust business now. However, my dad may have his own deal opening up. We'll keep you posted. Okay, sounds interesting. B&R says, is she coming back? Don't hold your breath. Yeah, I know what you meant on my video, but I think for you, that works. $39 is pretty good for, I don't know what that means. Junkyard D says, I miss flies and mosquitoes. I just hate the cold. I can deal with flies and mosquitoes. I just hate the cold. I've got so many limbs down. It's not even funny from the ice. It's bad. Grampito Vic's wanting to do a live engine startup. Okay, well, we'll see it. It'll happen. Levi says he has to be in the house by 10 or be dead the next day. Okay. LSS asks, what's the name of that movie about the truck driver in the car? It's an older movie. Well, that narrow it down. What you talking about? Duel? Is that the one you're talking about? From 1971 with Dennis Weaver? It's a good movie. Nick says, I almost made it out of the industry to take a desk job, but my boss made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I'm back to being a regular mechanic. Well, that's cool. $39 people watching. Yeah, this is just for whoever wants to show up. I mean, you know, people have lives and want to do other stuff, more power to them. BNR says, I put into number 12 something tow truck, ran 50 miles back to my area, towed to a shop 20 years ago. Okay, sounds like an interesting day. I've had an interesting week. Smokey and Bandit? No. Well, yeah, I mean, I can see. That's why I say it needs to narrow it down. And I think, I thought Duel was the first thing that came to my mind. Big James is right. It could be Smokey and the Bandit. But he says that's it. It's Duel. Yeah. 1971. Dennis Weaver. If you haven't seen it, you should. And Duel was actually a TV movie. It was a TV movie of the week. And can you imagine a TV movie like that now? I can't. But After the movie was done, they built another truck, and that truck still exists in North Carolina. They built another truck so that they could film some more scenes to lengthen it out and make a theatrical release, or at least a feature-length movie, I should say. You don't have to write it down. You have it here now. Text it to yourself. You know what? I'm just sitting right here right now. There you go. I just sent it to you. Now you don't have to write it down or anything. 6th Street Garage is congratulating Tom on quitting smoking. Hey, he's 45 days in. Keep it going. Colleen asks, what's the movie where the priest is being chased by the Black Warlock? You mean like the Dodge Warlock truck? I have no idea. I don't know that one. But this chat will know. If it's a car movie, this chat will know. Rockstar Lars will be back in a few. He's going to be out just so he can come back fashionably. Colleen wants to know how my week was. Oh, boy. Well. So amongst the many things that happened, I had some Jehovah's Witnesses stop by. They'll probably never be back. That was a lot of fun engaging with them. I bet we talked a half an hour. That was something. I tell you, I have a list of things that should never have been invented. And the first thing that was on my list, because it was the thing that inspired the list, is one of the worst inventions of all time, the padded toilet seat. Those should not exist. There are so many reasons they're just horrific. It should not exist. But number 2 thing on the list is legal paper. And I have to scan this. And the state of Virginia puts death certificates on legal paper. And I cannot get my printer to scan it. It won't do it. So anyway, so it's all kind. It's just a myriad of things this week. But the Jehovah's Witnesses, Jethro heard them first. And so he, of course, runs to the door. And, you know, that's always a good way to greet people with a leashed pit bull, right? But anyway, he didn't run them off, so. BNR's friend BJ is buying his own shop July 1st. Cool. I wish him well in that endeavor. Phantasm. Okay. See, I knew somebody would know. Lars is doing a wardrobe change. I have no idea. And no, I'm not wearing this for Valentine's Day at all. I had to go to court this morning with a client. And the judge always likes it when you dress nicely for court. In my business, you tend to do better when you show up looking respectable, you know, with a nice shirt and shirt tail tucked in and all that stuff. But what was kind of funny is that this was in another county where I don't live, and I'm not used to going there. And the security at the courthouse waved me around the metal detectors, I think because they thought I was an attorney or something, because the attorneys generally get the privilege of not having to go through them. I was ready to go through them, but I'm like, man, my normal armament would never go through a metal detector. Oh, but the thing is that a lot of people that came in, me and a couple other people, they waved around. Everybody else, I mean, they shook them down like TSA. They had to take belts off and everything else. It was a sight. Pure Pontiac says they don't come to my door anymore. Busted Radios, I love when they come in. Well, we had all kinds of fun. We had all kinds of fun. It was interesting. It would have made a great video, but I probably would have several people just huff and puff and unsubscribe if I put it up. Danny Boy says, you win when the Jehovah's Witnesses tell you they realize they're not going to be able to get through. That's pretty awesome. Most Little Partron Ward says, good evening from the frozen wasteland of Kansas. 38 said, did you get a copy of the latest Watchtower? No, I didn't. I did not get the Watchtower. I did get a business card. I just hope that they didn't single me out, right? Like, there's all kinds of people they could have, hit around here. And anyway, I hope they didn't just decide, that guy, he looks like his soul is in trouble. He drives an 85 Dodge and an 02 CRV. I don't know. Colleen says, came to the house and Mom answered with a boa constrictor wrapped around her waist. Yeah, okay. Well, they weren't criminals posing as Jehovah's Witnesses. I came to the door with a pit bull and a Glock shirt on, so like, well, it's probably a bad hit. So I think they were legitimately Jehovah's Witnesses. I did ask one of them. I can't remember what brought it up, but they have this thing where they say there's only going to be 144,000 people in heaven, and I think that whoever came up with that didn't realize that number would be pretty small one day. It's kind of like the code programmers that didn't realize a 4-digit year would be necessary in 2000. I think it was kind of along those lines. So I said, so how come you can't give away 144,000 seats in heaven, but the Indy 500 can sell 210,000 seats every Memorial Day? I always wanted to know that. Anyway, I have lots of questions along those lines, but it was interesting. What can I say? That is a negative LSS. I do not drink. But anyway, it was polite. It was interesting. Ron Ward says, if you can't get a Jehovah's Witness to speak to you, you may want to shine up your social skills, Paul Thorne. No, I don't know. I have a feeling those two won't be back. I mean, I know Jehovah's Witness. It's like he won't go to. We have a mutual friend has a Christmas party every year. He won't go to that because I don't know. Whatever. Whatever people want to do. Yeah. That's what he said. The rest are the meek that get the earth. I probably don't qualify for either. Don said the last time they stopped by, we ended up under the hood of the Valiant. Then they left. That's cool. Help you set a set of points or something constructive. That'd be all right. I have no problem believing that, BNR. They'd come to BNR's farmhouse, they'd talk politics and blame the Democrats. Well, that's what you do with everybody that stops by, right? Not just them. I'll show these two. This was very nice. I got two condolence cards right here from Frankenstein C20 Les and Deke Denny. What classy people. How nice is that? How nice is that? I wish I was that classy and upscale. Very, very nice people. I appreciate that. Ron Ward says only 217 days until the No Name Nationals. That will be correct. It will be 216 days, 3 hours, and 39 minutes. And it's 3 hours and 39 minutes until Valentine's Day is over. So let's get to that more important milestone first. BNR asks the questions. That whole thing. Evans Mopar Scott says Happy Singles Awareness Day. I had someone I asked, I said, should I do a cynical Valentine's Day thumbnail for this live or should I do a happy one? And I was told cynical, so cynical it is. Scott with an S. Yes, indeed. Yeah, where does the time go, Ron Ward? Yes. Idiocracy. How's it going? I bought flowers. I should be able to stay married for another year. Right on. My dad would always give my mom a dozen red roses for Valentine's Day. And then after he was gone, I would get her a dozen yellow roses for Valentine's Day. So this year, I didn't get any roses for anything. Levi says the trans in the Laguna is bell housing bolts away from being out. Then it's time to replace the valve body with the new one. Okay. I saw Idiocracy live one time. Cool guy. Went cheap and got carnations. The thought is a huge component. Bad Tree Blake says Heathens Assemble. Happy Valentine's Day. How's it going, sir? I enjoyed the premiere with he and J-Bo and the C-Body and all the janky wiring and such. If you haven't seen that one's fun. Just riding around with he and J-Bo and a C-Body. I mean, what's not fun about that? Most of the old parts, as I've become jaded by holidays, they've all become commercialized to the point we forget the true meaning. Thanksgiving is the only holiday I enjoy with my loved ones. Right. One-Eyed Cat says, I'm not allowed to buy flowers. They'll just die. Well, that's what they do. I don't really get that one. I mean, at least plants survive. .38 Racing says 217 and counting down. I'm not cleared for work, at least for another month. I'm kind of glad it's colder. Oh, I'm never glad it's colder. BNR says, had a local Pontiac friend years back, and after January 6th, I chased him off. Oh, man. I can't get that wrapped up about it. Although my client loved my sticker on the back window, just to troll people, I've got a Trump 2028 on there. Pure trolling. And I did that because I had one for 2016, I had one for 2020, 2024, and I do the before inauguration. I've got one now that says Trump 2028, and it's in red reflective letters on the back window, just to troll. So when people say, he can't run again, I said, who? I said, I want to vote for my friend Tom Trump. Tom Trump is like 80 years old. He's a guy who lives locally. He's a good dude, and he's never been president before, and he can run. He's eligible. That's who I'm going to vote for, 2028. LSS Drone Photography says, women love those flowers. I always bought all my wives flowers every year. So is this like parallel or in series? So is it like, Mormon, or is it like Baptist, or like what's the all my wives tree look like there? Levi says he started to enjoy a few of them. Levi realizes he needs to quit being a fun killer? No way. Depends what year it is, Ron. I bet you didn't have it on there in 2012. Well, FDR, I believe he was elected 4 times. And we got a constitutional amendment to prohibit that so that it's 2 terms, consecutive or not. I see Mrs. One-Eyed Cat is here. How's it going? Glad you could make it. How many total, Steve? 4 times. There we go. That's the number I was looking for. I've only been married 4 times. There you go. Man, that's like the Wikipedia page of a movie star. See 4 marriages in there. Bigfoots and Mopar says 200 days before we even start assembling a car for No Name Nationals, giving Lee a chance this year. I'm telling you, it depends who it is. It can absolutely be done. If we're talking about Russell Hot Rod Guy Garage, if we're talking about just Mopar Joe, we're talking about people like that, it'll happen. Bad Tree guys, there's a lot of guys that 200 days out, they would have it done. And there's a lot of people that 200 days out, I'm telling you, it will be like maybe 2029. So you could definitely do it. Yeah, Don's still on his first wife. You got to catch up, Don. After the last one got me for a bunch of money, I won't do whatever again. You learn about. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Yes, Ron. Only 4. Only 4. Levi's got a Sportsman for Bush bumper sticker on the Ram truck. Cool. Nice. Actually, you can find stickers like that if you look around on eBay and stuff. I might even have some really old political bumper stickers like that. I might even have that one. Who knows? Sam Mountain Mopars is attempting to go live and hoping to get subscribers to No Name Nationals. You know what really helps doing that is registering. Because then people see you on my page and they know that you've put your money where your mouth is and you're serious. I'm telling you, that helps a lot. I mean, you can ask these guys. It helps a lot. Helps get people on the map and lets them know they're risking their ego to register. And we have, the content creator workshops. But yeah, I mean, check out Sam Mountain Mopars live. Got a really cool car. I've enjoyed watching him get that together last season. It's good stuff. Yeah, Russell says, quit procrastinating and get them done. Let me tell you, the grass does not grow under his feet. He's one of our good example guys. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says, Don wouldn't know what to do without me. I completely believe that. And so does Don, yes. And you get the Edelbrock discount. That's right. Stuff with Cletus is here. Yo, cousins. And Cletus, while you're in here, you should put in the comments you should paraphrase what you mentioned in that short, that call out you made. Thought that was really interesting. Barracuda gonna have to sub. BNR says he'll look for your live. Yeah, man. Neat channel. I've been subscribed for a while over there. Bad Tree Productions puts up the link to his channel. Anytime, man. No Name Nationals is a lot of fun. Cletus says he'll register today. I will tell you, though, when you register early, it helps a lot of things. And it tells people that you're committed and they get behind you. They're looking for content. And it really does help within the community, help you get your subs and get things going. It does have a good benefit like that. Oh, Ron Ward has a cigar box full of old button pins. This chair has one of those cylinders that like leaks down. I've just kept shrinking down in it. Like each week, I think it's an inch lower. I've got to fix this thing. I need to just lock it out. Yeah. Anyway. So Ron's got a cigar box full of old button pins, Nixon. Yeah. You see those occasionally. They're really cool. I've got a handful of old buttons like that. J-Bo says plowing the first real snow all year. Yeah. What's a real snow for you, J-Bo? Because we had maybe 2 inches of snow yesterday and it's gone now. That's not a real snow. Danny Boyd this must be an old political slogan. Nixon, he's our man. McGovern thinks he's Peter Pan. There are some good ones out there. What was the one? James G. Blaine, the Continental Liar from the state of Maine. That one's from the 1800s. Blake says, get my sidewalk while you're at it, J-Bo. Okay. So Cletus says he's calling out anyone that wants to race, anyone who can beat me with a street legal vehicle will win my grill as a trophy. When he says grill, he means like the grill that he went. I have a picture. I should find that picture. I have a picture of that grill. Let's see if I can produce that. I don't know I have it. Let me go to the map and let me go to the Sykeston area. And it would have been not last year, but year before, I believe. And it's his contact picture. I didn't think about that. So if I don't come up with it, yeah, that's where I'll get it. It's his contact picture. You got to see this. If you haven't seen this, gosh, I got a lot of people in here. All right, here we go. I can do this. All right. Cover this up because probably don't want his phone number out there. But there you go. You can see that. See the grill? That's the trophy right there. Calling out anyone who wants to race, anyone can beat me with a street legal vehicle with my grill as a trophy, the one I wear. Anyone that can beat me in a stock vehicle will get $100. So there you go. I had to take a minute and find that. Define stock. Yeah. There's so many people don't know what stock means. They'll say, oh, it's stock. And then they'll list like 10 things. It's not stock if you've done these 10 things. It's not. I mean, I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand. You're not going to find anybody with actually a stock vehicle. They always do something to them. Street legal's pretty broad. Yeah. Yeah, you want to rein that in a little bit. Make them work for it. That's a cool trophy. Can't believe you weren't wearing it in the video where you told people. What is his version of stock? You know what? There shouldn't be. You know what? His version of stock shouldn't exist. It's like someone tells her truths or tells his. No, there's not a his truth or her. There's a the truth, and then there's we have this wonderful country where we have the latitude to live within a variance of the truth if we want to, because we're privileged like that. But no, there's no his version of stock. There is stock. Brazil says, my car is street legal. Yeah, what's your version of street legal? because there's a whole lot of street legal cars that actually aren't street legal, and people drive them every day. You could fail anything on a strict state inspection. So Cletus says, stock means anything someone can buy from a manufacturer. Oh boy. These people, somebody's going to start talking about the LO23 Dart. You just watch. Street legal is anything that is tagged and driven on the street. I got to tell you, though, if somebody pulls an LO23 Dart out of you-know-where to race Cletus, that's going to be a good deal. I want to see that. And Ron Ward will be foaming at the mouth to call that one. Ron Ward will pass out calling that one. I'll be at the starting line, too. Yeah, even then, there's actually a lot of loopholes and a lot of fleas come with the antique tag thing, I can promise you. I mean, Unfinished Project is asking indirect connection for a Dart Sport update. Okay. Hot Rod Guy Garage says he's fixing to show everyone what street legal is. Okay. Stock didn't come with upside down air cleaners. I agree. It did not. You're on, Cletus. I drive my junk. When was the last time you drove your car anywhere on an errand? When, Levi? When was that? When you brought it to Lambert's a couple of years ago? Big Goods and Mopar says somebody copyrighted the term drag and drive. The way that works, though, is you have to use it in commerce first. And anyway, it's become generic, though, which is a kind of a problem. But people will always use it generically, so I don't know where that'll ever go. And the worst part about that is that the burden of enforcement falls on the person who makes the claim and gets the IP, which is terrible. I mean, the cost of enforcement, if they win, should be borne by the infringer, but that's not how it works. It's unfortunate. In this case, I don't know where that. I don't have a dog in that fight. I just think it's interesting. BNR says you can put license plates and insurance on a Pro Mod in Illinois. Just needs factory VIN tag and body tag. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Illinois is a way too authoritarian state to just let that happen. Stuff with Cletus wants to race Levi. That'll be a good race because Levi's got to make it 660 feet. Hot Rod Guy Garage says, drive that race car to Levi. Drive it to Sykeston, Levi. Let me tell you, there is no way on earth Levi would ever drive that car to Sykeston. No way. But if he did, that would be an incredible story. Levi says he doesn't drive it in the wintertime, but summertime is cruising. Yeah, but that's, but all that is you're just showing that you can drive your race car to the cruising. That's I mean, it's like these, well, back in the NMCA when they had to do a 25-mile cruise to prove their car was a street car. Well, that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Here's Tony Christian out there in a Pro Mod with license plates going 25 miles to prove it's a street. It didn't prove anything. A race car can be set up to drive any distance it has to be set up for. NASCAR sets up race cars to drive 500 miles. It's nonsense. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I have a feeling there's more in the motor vehicle code about that BNR. Yeah, no, indirect connection. Now he'll drive his stuff. I mean, he's the real deal with that. Oh no, there's no way Levi will do that. Levi has a hard time getting 660 feet. I don't think he's going to try to drive that trip. Chinese don't play the IP game. They just take your stuff and nobody does anything about it. That's correct. They just steal. They just steal your stuff and nobody does anything about it. They are rip-off artists. They are rip-off artists. They shamelessly steal intellectual property because they know that it could be practically impossible to ever enforce anything. Russell says, I'd drive mine up there, but we'd have to remortgage the house to pay for the fuel. Need an overdrive. Bigfoots and Mopar says, unlike Mopar Joe's full-blown race car, I'm only bringing a slightly blown street car. Well, it's got to make it now. Joe's made it every year. You can't knock Joe for that. One-Eyed Cat's 440 has been driven back to Cleveland. Okay. But not in that Valiant, I don't think. Oh, now see, here comes the caveat. The key is you don't tell the Illinois driver's license department. See, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't mean anything. That's like saying it's legal to carry a gun everywhere as long as you don't get caught. That's the same thing. That's tantamount to that, DNR. Don't tell me that. Yeah, see, I get what you're saying, Dust Devil. No safety inspection in Illinois and no emission. I get that, but the motor vehicle code is still going to supersede that. Like, just because we'll use Virginia, for example. Just because you pass inspection, if a state trooper sees something that's not in compliance, he can still stop you. He can still write you up. And I guarantee you, Illinois is the same way. You're not telling me that the troopers there don't have the discretion to cite you for things outside of inspection. Lots of bench racers. Yes, there are. Just YouTube automotive community is full of bench racers, and every gun store is full of bench race operators. Just like it. I'm sure that everything that we do is like that. 38 says, I might have to figure out how to drive 3. Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you had a 59 Chevy following another 59 Chevy that was flat towing a 59 Chevy, you'd probably make the news for that. Levi, let me tell you. You do not want to pick a go. Okay. It looked like my internet was glitching there. All right. Okay. So the only reason that you're doing this is because you know that Joe was not going to be in here right now tonight. But I'm telling you. Joe doesn't drive on the street because he uses the minimum amount of grease in all of his bearings to make it down the track and no further. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I know you did, but I'm just what you're doing and what maybe kosher don't have to be mutually inclusive. DNR. Idiocracy says in Ohio most counties don't have inspections, but yeah, you can still get exactly you can still get ticketed. Exactly. That's how Tennessee is. There's no state inspection in Tennessee, but there's also nothing stopping a patrolman from pulling you over and writing you up. Of course, I wish it was that way here. We've had bills to get rid of state inspections, and it never happens. The Democrats are not invested in it. They want to do it because they think it'll get, like the poor unwashed masses vote. The Republicans never want to do it because all the inspection station revenue, that lobby is is big with them, and they won't do it. So, yeah, I don't think we'll ever get rid of it here. We may. I sure hope so, but I don't think we will. And if they do, they're going to put a poison pill in it. See, last time it was going to be all this additional fuel tax and all of that. That, and when you have a current inspection sticker, they leave you alone. I wouldn't want the culture to change and them start saying, well, now that we don't have state inspections, we're going to start shaking people down and roach. See, I definitely don't want that. So. One-eyed cat drove the Valiant to Watkins Glen and got on the naughty list Thursday evening. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what causes that. This about once a live stream, this thing will buffer for a minute. I don't know what causes it at all. I have no idea. It's different hardware. It's good internet. Could just be where it's blinking from the ice, but it does it every week. Do state inspections only apply to its own residents? That's a good question. I mean, you have to meet the code to drive your car there, even though under the I don't know what they call it, Faith and Credit Act or something. You have reciprocity with your driver's license, but your car still needs to meet the code to drive there. I don't think they enforce it that way. Danny Boyd says, I'm too close to Washington, D.C. Yeah, well, Northern Virginia has been just polluted by D.C. We've got about 5 counties up there that are unrecognizably bad. And they have so many residents that they have all the voting power here. And it's terrible. Brazil said he ran open headers. They didn't bother him. Well, I'll tell you, I like my ears too much to do that. Indirect Connection says they have emissions test and he has to do it himself. Okay, just running a sniffer. Why were you doing that yourself? I've used those things. They're weird. Yeah, I've got a guy for inspection. Just takes a little bearing grease. Well, you should have a good inspection station that you always go to. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a trade-off to it, though. I mean, if it means a trooper leaves you alone as long as your numbers are current, it shouldn't be that way. In Don's defense, he was challenged into a burnout. Jason says, no other inspections, but on the other hand, most cars here are rusted into the interior plastics at 15 years old. No kidding. 38 says, every once in a while, the state troopers will set up roadside inspection stops. Ugh, yeah, I hate those. I really hate those. And there's a lot of argument on whether or not those are constitutionally permissible. And I just don't like them. There's a kiosk you drive up to and enter your VIN. Oh, yuck. That is no good. Levi says inspections are good and bad, but I hope Indiana never has them just to increase my taxes. I wish we'd get rid of it here. And sometimes, hey, Joe, you might want to scroll back. Old Levi, he's throwing darts at you, man. Levi's writing checks with his mouth. There's some cars that really should not be on the road. Well, I agree. But you can't police the world. Some Mexican woman in front of me in traffic a few months back got off an off ramp, come down to a stop sign, and when the car got down to about 5 miles an hour, just wiggle, and then one of the tie rod ends just snapped, and the toe in the front did that, and the car just stopped. I could see it from the back. It was just so towed out. It was wild. Yeah, that car shouldn't have been on the road. I mean, look at the wreck that could have been, right? But Joe says, hopefully Levi got lots of cards in his Valentine's box to take to school. I got to tell you, one reason that I'm stirring the pot with Joe and Levi is because most people don't know this. Joe probably makes me laugh more than any other YouTuber. Dakota says, I really think I could outrun them all, but in my small town, I'm the only person driving a red beater 74 Trans Am. Do you even have a town, or is it just a wide spot in the road? Like your town is Chattanooga, right? Joe's ears were burning, perhaps. Emissions testing is bureaucratic BS at best, says Tony's Hot Rod Garage. I agree. One-eyed cat needs to go wash the lasagna pan back in 5. Cool. Rear steer car toe that's out going forward won't help you because it was towed out both sides. The cross toe was like 45 degrees. Levi says his box was stuffed all from yours truly. I'm only loved for my paycheck. Now, Levi's sowing the seeds of his demise now, isn't he? BNR says Dakota highways and 2-lane blacktop are your friend at night if you want to play. Blake, what do you watch if you're feeling down? You say CB, it's a classic. What are we missing? I saw that. I didn't see what it went with. What does that go with, Blake? What is a classic? I know Blake likes the Highwayman because he likes that Barracuda in there, which is cool. Blue Grit says we used to have drive-up inspections, and there was an issue with four-wheel drive vehicles that would automatically engage during the test and crash through the equipment. Oh, ooh. See, we should just not do that. Sam Mount Mopar says, I'm hearing a Challenger. Is that already locked in? Joe says, someone gave Levi the wrong kind of gummies in his Valentine's candy. Yeah, Dakota lives up on Sand Mountain. Yep, I know. I know where Dakota is. I've been there. Dakota is he's like a satellite office of the Dollar General they built across the street. No, I definitely don't. I'm definitely not hip enough. I'm definitely somewhere on the spectrum between you and J-Bo. I just don't know where. Dust Devil Garage says, I can see the argument for a realistic safety inspection, but emissions is a scam. Emissions is a scam. If you've actually taken the emissions classes and learned how they do the trade-offs, you know, it is a scam. You're exactly right. Levi says, I think, and I got to memorialize these things because they never age well. I think a certain purple Mopar is going to see a parachute in front of him, or he's going to see tons of smoke and me trying to ice skate. Either or. He's hedging his bet there, Joe. He's going to see a parachute in front of him. That's because Joe's going to be on the plane when you drop it out of the car, when you drop the car out the side. Danny Boyd had a Fox body that broke a tie rod end and would drive okay forward, bind and revert. Yeah, I can see that. Front steer, Corolla's a rear steer, and we'll do the opposite. Yeah, I get that. Or better yet, don't tear your stuff up and just don't try to drive it with a broken tie rod end. Okay, so it's the same Sam Mountain. Dakota lives half a mile from me. Okay, yeah. Cool. Well, I've been there, Sam Mountain Motor. I got a video on my channel. I did a video of his dad's flathead V8 Ford tractor, and he and Hunter are in it. And I gave Dakota a timeout live. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to go back and check it out. Blue Grit says there was an issue with the testing equipment was not compatible with BMWs and would fry the car computer. See, I just opted out of all of that stuff. Brazil said, Levi, did you say parachute? Is that to catch all the parts falling off that Chevy? That's a good one. Yeah, make sure it's Kevlar and washable. Joe says, I'm slow to comment. I was Googling how fast a Laguna would hit the ground with such a small parachute. That car's probably got enough area. I'm guessing probably terminal on that will be around 170 in free fall. Just a guess. I don't really know. You're supposed to tell me to inspect my steering linkage. No, I'm telling you to just film it and don't hurt anybody. Cletus says he is registered. Cool. Not showing yet, but I absolutely believe him because Cletus has always dealt very straight up. He's a good dude. Yeah, that was fun. Dakota and I and his brother and his dad. His dad's super cool. His folks are real cool. They're just cool people. Just nice people, all of them. And he wants me to be the chase car when he's out running the cops in his Trans Am trying to recreate Smokey and the Bandit. Joe says, now Walter is typing for me. Levi, let's make it an interesting race this year. I'm telling you what, that would be a good one. Hang on. Was it buffering again? It was on my screen. Anyway, I know that Levi, his second best time I've heard he run is identical to a time I've heard from Joe. So those two that'll be a really close race the way the cars are right now. And so Levi says, I'm going to throw more power to it. And then Levi's going to break stuff. So we'll just see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, every year's interesting. What you got in mind? But see, Levi, Joe has pulled it off every year. You still have to pull it off. Joe's car can do it twice, yeah. Joe's car, truth be told, if he keeps it cool and keeps it fueled up, could probably drive there and run and get back. His stuff is like that. And I'm not just singling Joe out. There's a lot of guys whose stuff is always together and works and all that, and Joe's one of them. And I'll tell you another one that goes under the radar who's the same way is Don English. Don does a little bit of work every day, all year long, no matter the weather, fixes all these little things before it becomes a problem, gets on this before it becomes a problem. And you know what? Every year, Don turns out, puts on a show at No Name Nationals every year. He just goes under the radar like that. But there's a lot of guys like that. The battery guys do too, but they also, they got that baseball bat of ambition, so they're sometimes taking a swing at it. And sometimes when you do that, you break stuff. We understand that. But the battery guys always show up and always put on a show because they get their stuff together all year long. So I put them in that category too. But they also take more chances because they're a little wild and crazy, which is good. Dakota says Sam Mountain Mopar drives his drag car and everyone around knows it. Yeah, I bet. LSS says, needs money to fix my spaceship so I can return to my planet. Please help. In your planet, do people get married 4 times? Is that the planet? What planet is that? Blue Grit says, I might be bringing a grenade this year. I might need to invest in a diaper. I'm going to tell you, please do. Good idea. Blake says it's called junk, not stuff. No, they do they sort their stuff out and it's good. Samuel Mopar says the hot rod makes a lot of noise. Through the lawn chair, they can hear me coming. Oh, yeah, that's cool. I used to have a neighbor, actually not far from here at all, was over on the other side of the highway, had a neighbor that detested the open hitters on my dart. Ooh, she hated that. Levi, let's run the first pass of the day on Saturday as soon as the track opens. Interesting. Interesting. All right, Cletus is registered. And I always save the sub count at time of registration. Very cool. Stuff with Cletus, don't forget, you're going to have your Edelbrock incentives discounts. You'll be on the next spreadsheet I send over. Everybody except Cletus who's registered right now is on that, and he will be very soon. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. Off the trailer heads up flag drop. Levi's wanting to crowd fund something. Stuff with Cletus says, ready for some Lamberts. Cool. I usually wind up eating there sometimes twice while I'm there, but I mean, Dallas and I have gone out there and we've been out there for other stuff in the off season. So Levi's basically wanting to crowdfund a match race. No problem with that. One-Eyed Cats is looking for his 9s in the 8th. You've got them, buddy. You were 10.02 last year. Keep whittling away. Brazil says, that's how to race. Heads up off the trailer, leave the scoreboards off. Levi says it's not Street Outlaws. Blake says, what's Street Outlaws? Street Outlaws is a show that they used to be on where they claimed those were street cars and stuff. And they turned into high-dollar pro mods with license plates and staged phony street scenes and all this stuff. Best I remember. I think I watched the first 2 seasons, and after that, it got too crazy. Of course, then again, I watched the first 2 seasons, and then I quit watching TV altogether. I haven't had TV in 10 years. Well, that's funny to say. I guess I technically inherited the TV I gave my mom 10 years ago. So it's because I have one now. So here's Levi trying to poison pill the offer so that he can not have to do it. You like that? Sykeston needs to build an Olive Garden. I'm indifferent to that because we have an Olive Garden here now. I actually went there on Wednesday. You know, you actually do pretty good at Olive Garden on the lunch specials during the week. 11 to 3. It's pretty reasonable. It's good. Joe says, Levi, you'll only race on Saturday if you don't try pass on Friday, which means Joe thinks he's got a grenade. Yeah, Joe just wants there to be something left of the car. He didn't want Levi to blow it up on Friday. Pushing and shoving over the spot on. Yeah, man, that whole thing. That whole thing is just to glamorize some of the worst culture that racing has to offer. I can't stand it. Fake TV stuff from the early 2000s, yeah. I don't watch TV other than NASCAR, basketball, and football. I watched probably 5 minutes of the Super Bowl. I'm good. Blue Grit says, I took a trip to Lambert's in my brother's 2005 Lotus Elise. I had a client that had one of those one time. Some weird looking cars. One-Eyed Cat's trying to break. So, Don, I got to tell you, you know you're going to break that. So just, start going ahead and planning your swap. Tim72 Demon, how's it going? I saw a Tim mentioned, and we have a few Tims. I wondered which one it was. Stuff with Cletus says, I'm sure Nadertron's World is coming this year too. I need to get some stickers and shorts to give the tower. We're going to do a different strategy with how we do our stuff that gives away in the tower. We'll work that out. You're going to like it. It's going to be good. Unfinished Project says the Zuppa Toscana is the best thing at Olive Garden. It's good. I'll give you that. I'm not a salad eater, obviously. Men are made of meat, not salad. So for me, I like the pasta fagioli. I give it an edge over the minestrone. And man, there's a lot of good choices on the pasta. I don't like hearing these uppity snob people talk about how inauthentic it is. Who cares? It's good food. I mean, which reminds me of something. All right, I rarely do this, but Olive Garden reminded me of The Sopranos, so I'm going to show off some of Cope's handiwork. Of course, he's not in here to enjoy this and laugh together. So you get caught in a sport coat one time, and John Cope does this with it. Cletus doing shirts, cool. Yeah, we're going to change it up a little bit about how we give away from the tower, but you guys are going to like it. It's going to be good. Joe says, after my 10 passes Friday, I was wanting to save one for Levi. Then I can turn it up for Professor P. Man, Joe is just going to wade through the waters of Levi on his way to Professor P. Ooh. Joe, is your microphone dented from dropping it? Oh my gosh. I'm old enough to be Levi's father, and I'm sitting here listening to all this. Oh man, this old boy's tired. Do you need some cheese with that wine, Levi? Blake says, is it Cooper DeJohn or Cooper DeJean? How you pronounce that? The NFL is a white quarterback, the most DEI hire of the 24-25 season. I don't know, perhaps. Everyone wasn't that way at all in the NFL or in college. Colleen says, I'm an uppity snob. I don't eat at Olive Garden because real Italian restaurants have eggplant parmesan. Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of Italian restaurants that are more authentic. And I get all that. Totally. And I like them. I just like Olive Garden, too. It's it's comfort food Italian. It's Italian. Whatever. It's fine. It's good stuff. Although people deify those freaking breadsticks there, and I do not think they're all that. They are so hit and miss depending on where you go. Although they're all better than Fazoli's breadsticks. Man, those are the worst. I mean, they're like used oil dry. They're awful. Rob's Rods and Streetcars. Joe's saying, Rob, let's get that race this year. Rob's got to get there first. Hey, Rob, how many days is it until Halloween? One-Eyed Cat says, I'm betting on Joe. Yeah, it's not bad. Bad Tree Blake says Levi has a handicap. His car can possibly Chevy him, unfortunately. Yeah. Mohawk says, I just registered. Right on. So let's jump. Yeah. I don't know what's up with that glitchy buffer thing. Might need to talk to my tech guy about that. But Well, anyway, when someone registers and their channel link doesn't work when they register, it's okay. I'll still look them up. But I think this. Dakota says, I like Taco Bell, but I can't afford it. Dude, that's bad. I'm not a big fan of Taco Bell. Just not really my thing. I don't eat Mexican all that often, but when I do, I really like our Mexican joint downtown here. It's really good. And it's a really well-run business. Really well run. The staff is great. They have no turnover at all. It's always really clean, really good service. The food is good. And I can't even tell you for sure what the name of the place. I've eaten there for years. We just call it Mexico. But it's a good place to eat. Got a few little places around here I like. Yeah, see, Cleveland's got a good point. Just because Taco Bell isn't real Mexican food doesn't mean it's not good. I agree. It's the same category as Olive Garden, right? Because it's not real Italian doesn't mean it's not good. Hey, I agree. I'm just not into Taco Bell. I just think it's kind of weird. Rob says 259 days until Halloween. Gotcha. Halloween's okay. I like the movie Halloween 1. It's a great movie. The bad thing about Halloween is it means the weather is just getting ready to take an absolute nosedive. Jethro and I, we have the free candy van out once a year. You know, the parents are like, yeah, it really is safe to get free candy from that creepy looking van. We put the van out the bottom of the driveway and open the side doors on it and have our seats and our whole setup there. It makes it nice and comfortable. And that way the kids don't have to walk uphill up the driveway. We have a nice spread. I got my Michael Myers outfit and mask on, and Jethro's got his little skeleton costume on. That's what we do. So this is a trick-or-treat neighborhood. I bet we have 100 every year at least. Joe puts up the link for Rob's Rods and Streetcars. Thank you for doing that, sir. Dust Devil says he'll bet on Levi. Won't be a lot, but I'll bet on him. Hey, Levi will use this for motivation. Let me tell you. Now, Levi asks for his lumps. Yes, he does. But I'm hoping he will use this for motivation. Because I got to tell you, if his stuff will stay together, it can run. I think he'll get a 5 this year. Nader's Workshop says 215 days until I start my build for No Name Nationals 25. And you're probably not kidding. Surprise us all, man. Make it happen. We'd love to meet you in person. Rob's Rods and Streetcar says, love me that grilled cheese burrito. That sounds good, actually. Brian raced his car year 3 after saying he would be ready year 1. Don't bet like him. I will tell you this. Brian has made progress every year. Brian has been there every year. There's a lot to be said for that. Because there are some people who talked a lot of stuff, and then after they didn't show up a few times, they disappeared. Okay, but let me tell you, Brian's been there every year, and he's made progress every year. So his car didn't make it the first year. His car did make it the second year. It made it down the track the third year. So let's see. I predict Brian will make more progress this year. Brazil says, the only thing I know about Mexico is they have some good streets. So I hear. 38 says, I prefer non-chain Mexican. Okay. Yeah, I can't think of what the name of ours is down here. Let's call it Mexico, but good folks, really first class. It says a lot about any restaurant when they have no employee turnover and everybody stays. Buff says La Ruleta Mexican restaurant in Sykeston is a great place. Cool. Okay. I can't think where I went with Tony Ross and Lars. We were down there last year. Yeah. Blake, I wouldn't call what I did race my car, Brian says. Yeah, well, I mean, he made a pass down the track in it. And let me tell you, making a pass that taking a tree and going 660 feet and getting a time slip is a whole lot more than a lot of people do. DNR likes October and November for cruising in Illinois. Okay. This Devil says, but I don't talk a lot of crap either. Dust Devil's got a very metered response to lots of things. I'm actually excited about Dust Devil Garage's van bracket he wants to run. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Blue Grit's talking about some Mexican restaurants in St. Louis closing as a protest. Protest for what? Immigration policy? Mass deportation? Is that what it is? How dare we enforce the law? Hot Rod Guy Garage wishes Taco Bell would bring the chili cheese burrito back. That just sounds explosive. I'll take a pass. LSS Drone says, is that movie you were talking about a while back called The Last Duel, the newer one? I don't know what you're talking about. The only duel I know of is called Duel. It's 1971 with Dennis Weaver, and it features a red four-door Valiant. And it's a cool little movie, and that's the only one I know of. I mean, it might even be free on YouTube right now. I don't know. Just look it up. Maybe. May well be. I know it has been before. YouTube will take movies on and off being free. Just look. Just check it out. YouTube movies. Probably free. Gosh, even if it's not, it's probably free lurking out there somewhere. 38 says, how many can say they've been there every year with the same car? Some can. Some can't. 38, were you at the inaugural No Name Nationals? Actually, you were. You were there as a spectator the first year. Yep. Don was too, but he didn't bring his Valiant. If only there wasn't bills to pay. I hear that. Just Mopar Joe says, good night, everyone. I've got to exit like Levi's rods on any given Friday or Saturday. Oh. Joe's now going to wipe the Levi off of his gauntlet and put it away for later. Thanks for swinging by. I tell you what, I do give Levi a lot of credit because he comes in swinging, in here and on Dallas and Professor P's live every week, and he takes a lot of shots and he keeps coming back. So I give Levi a lot of credit for that. Mater says that kid still has that little dragster after 4 months. I'm going to see if he'll take $275 delivered. I tell you what, I would just put the money away to just be there as a spectator first. That is going to turn into one expensive build. But if you do, it'll be cool. But I'll tell you one thing. You can't cut corners when it comes to passing tech. Because if you have a car that doesn't quite pass tech, you'll spend a lot and not get to run. So just keep that in mind too. I mean, Deke has already looked at it. We've already talked about it with you. And that 216 days and 2 hours and 40 minutes is going to come in quick. Danny Boyd just thought that Valiant was orange. It's probably the film they shot it on, because that was actually shot on film. That car was red. And Steven Spielberg wanted a red Valiant because he wanted to contrast against the desertscape. That's why he did that. So it was a Mopar red color, but because of what it was filmed on and that whatever was shot on 16 millimeter film of some kind, it probably does look orangey because of that. Same thing was actually true of the General Lee. That car's color looked a lot different on the film than in person because of what they shot it on, which is not as true today as what it was then for that reason. Joe says, hit the like. Hey, if you feel so compelled, thanks. Blake says, 30 to go in the truck race. Thanks for swinging by, man. We appreciate you. Steven Spielberg, same concept as Jaws. Well, yeah, but the Jaws thing was at least more natural because blood is red. He chose a red Valiant, but yeah. They didn't get John Williams to do the score for that. It was just creepy. There's no real score for Duel. It's just creepy sound effects. Steph with Cletus says, I need to get No Name Nationals temporary tattoo I can put on my face to go along with my grill. It'll look so cool. I don't know. We might be able to hook you up with some vinyl. Rob's the Streetcar says, how's your project coming? My project right now is a mountain of paperwork I'm doing. Everything in that stack is a current thing I'm having to do. Estate stuff. Oh, it's a lot of stuff. Dust Devil Garage, there's only one person that can say they brought a different car every year. Well, Hoopty Mike's done that. Is anyone else? See you later, Balake. Yes, indeed. DNR says, take off June, July, August, and September. Well, if you got that luxury, might be helpful. Tim72 Demon says, don't think I'll be making my Demon a strip car. Found a 67 Dodge D100 Project Trek, 318 4-speed, 8 3/4. Oh, that sounds really cool, actually. Stock with a straight front axle, drum brakes, $1,200. That sounds neat. Well, bring your Demon. I mean, get in the No Name 500. Get your subs. Bring your Demon. Bring your street car. Or just bring yourself. I know you're coming from a long way away, but just come have fun. We just want to see you. LSS Drone is going to go watch the movie Duel. Well, give us a report on it next week. Let us know how you liked it, Steve. Everybody here has seen it. Dakota says a lot of debate over the Dirty Mary Crazy Larry Charger, green, yellow. Yeah, it was yellow, I think. I've never even heard that it was green. Never heard that once, actually. But there's another one for you, Steve. That's a good movie. If you want to watch an old car movie, it's 1974. Dirty Mary Crazy Larry. It's a good one. Says that truck's in decent shape. It looks like Joe's blue lunchtime truck. Yeah. Dean says, I'm glad you've got 217 days on your red card. Well, that's actually an orange. In fact, I've got the actual color right there. I can't remember, but it is an orange color, they say. That's what it's called. Junkyard D says, are there any particular rules for the van bracket? When we get closer to time, a little closer, we'll get Brian to tell you, but I don't think there's a lot of rules. It's just a van bracket. But the biggest rule is it has to be a van. So, Brian, if you're still in here and you want to tell Junkyard D anything, let me know. And also, Brian, if we have a sheet on this that tells what people need to know, I'll add it to the No Name Nationals website. Mater says, if I get that dragster chassis, it will be at No Name Nationals in 2026. Well, none of us are promised tomorrow, so you'll make it happen, Captain, make it happen. But I will say, we'd like to meet you in person, so hopefully you can make it. Yeah, Kim Fixes Things. I've been bringing a different car over you. That's right. Kim Fixes Things has. So let's see. The van, that Dart, and trying to remember what the yeah, that's right. You brought a different car every year. And I guess that Fairmont or whatever this year. What was the other one? I can't think what the other one was. Cletus says, I brought a different car every year too, but you haven't been there every year. So I would think that bringing a different car every year only counts for people who've been there every year. Brazil's bringing a different car this year than last. Yeah. Yeah, bring what makes you happy. Danny Boy says there was a foreign version. Oh, that's so irritating when you find one that's subtitled in some other language. All right. So Steve's going to watch Duel and he's going to give his report next week. All right. We're looking forward to it. That Graveyard Cars guy, I got just a limitation to how long I can listen to Warman. Dean Stevenson is sitting here talking an A-body code. Or so I think. Year 2, we failed to bring a Valiant. Okay. Bigfoots and Mopar says, I'm bringing a shinier car this year. Shinier than the Jack Pine Savage? Mohawk likes Return to Macon County. Nick Nolte, Don Johnson. Yeah, that's not bad. I've seen that. I really like that 57 Chevy with the lack of side trim. I always thought that car looked really good in that movie. Cletus says, I did miss last year pretty much. Yeah, well, man, just come on out. 217 days. We'd like to see you. Buff says, I think Kim and I will have 2 cars this year. Yep, right on. Don says, that homework for everybody. I could watch Duel again. Steve just wants to watch it. He just has a thing. He wants to see it. So, whatever. I'll watch it too. You never know. And you got me thinking about it now. Cletus says, the Pinto on the movie Friday was pretty sweet. I thought on Friday that was a Chevette, not a Pinto. You're talking about the one that would scrape going in the driveway every time, right? That's the one you're talking about? That was a Chevette. Brazil says Hot Rod is a good car movie, a 2-lane blacktop. Yeah. Bigfoots and Mopar says, Frizzell, which Galaxy will I be racing, red or white? Blue Grit says, speaking of red Mopars, Car 54, Where Are You police cruiser was red and white because it would show up as black and white on the old TVs. Local police would not allow black and white on the street. That sounds pretty wild. I've never heard that before. I remember the show in syndication. I mean, I don't remember the first run, but I remember, later with Fred Gwynn. That was a neat show. Drop top Pinto that would diesel and backfire when parked. Okay, now, yeah, that's a different car. It's not the car I'm thinking of. Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I was thinking of the Chevette from House Party. That's what I was thinking. It's scraping the driveway. Now, I know what you're doing. Yeah. You got it straight. I had my movies crossed up. 38 Racing says, Catch Me If You Can is a car movie too. I never knew that. I've seen a lot of suggestions to that movie. Never watched it. Mohawk says the Pinto and Blues Brothers. This is where I say something that Cope considers pure sacrilege. I've never seen the Blues Brothers. Bigfoots and Mopar says, I modeled my black blower with polished ribs after the blower on the Willys and Hot Rod. Okay. Yeah, I see Mark's car making it there this year. Dean says the Ministry of Works and Dementia Development is his company. I believe that. There's 2 Catch Me If You Can movies. Well, the one I'm thinking of is that Scam Artist. That's what I'm thinking of. Brazil says the red Galaxy is gone. He has the white Galaxy and the Cougar would never pass tech. The white Galaxy is your Huckleberry. Right on. Leonor's talking about a muscle car dealer as a place to start. I don't agree with that. That's a way to pay way more for something. Yeah, Unfinished Projects never seen Blues Brothers either. Well, I haven't. I don't think so. I don't think so. I got a list. I got a short list. But here's the bigger thing about the movie. I want to see some registrations first. That's an expensive limb to go out on. You know, let's see some registrations, and we'll talk about a movie. We'll talk about a movie before too long. And I would love to bring back the movie. I thought it was freaking great. Dallas loved it, and I mean the production of it was good too. The video and the sound quality, all that was great. We just needed more people. Blue Brick Garage's Nickelodeon bought my uncle's old Mopar and restored the Car 54 car for traveling display in the 80s. Wow, that's interesting. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly says, Pacer from Wayne's World. I had a girlfriend had one of those. She wrecked her Gremlin. Wrecked the Gremlin and got a Pacer? Well, that's interesting. Dakota says, Uncle Tony has me scared about them muscle car dealers. He's making good money doing videos that scare people. More power to him. Stuff with Cletus says, any bounties this year? We've got some good match races and such coming on. I don't know of any bounties yet. Hot Rod Guy Garage says, can't wait to see the white whale with the dump truck motor in person. Indirect Connections getting up early tomorrow. Understood. BNR says, the problem with abandoned cars is the title. Yeah, I can see that. Blue Grit says, I think the Blues Brothers Commie Pinto was a wagon, and boy, did that Pinto fly. Okay. The 38 says, I might register yet again this year. I think, are you registered? I was thinking you were. I don't remember. Fortunately, we have enough people that I can't keep it straight in my. Yes, 38 Racing is registered. He is registered. I was thinking so. Yeah, Dakota, I'll tell you what, you put that stuff in the wrong place, it's going to cause you some grief. Hot Rod Guy Garage says it's going to look like 60s match race madness this year. Yeah, we should have a lot of matches. There'll be some good stuff. I like the match flavor. I think it's a good thing. I think that will wind up being cooler than just trying to do more classes, because this crowd overwhelmingly just likes to build stuff from their imagination and have fun. It's not about trying to compete and win a title. It's just not. It's not what this event does. So the class that absolutely works, if more people would do it, is the bracket, because the bracket's, of course, the equalizer for everything. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says 213 till my vacation for me. Cool. Well, it's not a vacation for me. It's a week of just like full steam work, but it's worth it. It's great. Maxwell's Dick Dasher says, per the wrecked gremlin, it's a ditzy blonde, missed the road in the snow, went in the ditch, and broke off her front tooth. Oh my gosh, it sounds like a true story from West Virginia right there. The One-Eyed Cat says, I think I'll run the brackets this year. Sounds like more fun to me. I think your car, consistent as it was last year, would be a good bracket car. I mean, you were running consistent times. Boy, wouldn't that be a story? PNR doesn't like the idea of federal jail time. I don't think anybody in here does. Frazil says, Bigfoots and Mopars, are we doing a 2 out of 3 match race or a one and done grudge race? Unfinished Project says to Dean, blessed are the cheesemakers. I can get behind that. Yes, I can. Mohawk 62 says, I think I've watched every Mel Brooks movie he has made. That would just wear me out. But yeah. Dean says, how do you think I got my JDM 81 Mustang? Front half was a coupe, back half a hatchback. Ford did a chop shop in San Jose and exported the mess to Japan legally. Wow. That sounds wild. Big Bits and Mopars is up for doing a 2 out of 3. Hoping to do the same with Lee from NSB Customs. Cool. Well, Dakota, the more you celebrate that, the harder it is for anybody else to do it. Don't burn the bridges behind you for everyone else. They will rent a plane and nuke you. The one thing I really don't like that the people will do is this bonded title stuff, because that can screw people over. I think people will mind the bonded title stuff just to try to obstruct. Brazil says, I'm down. Let's do it. You guys need to make some videos on your channel about these match races. Hype them up over the course of the season. It's good stuff. We've had some great matches, No Name Nationals. Well, BNR, who does have a good time in federal jail? I will say, from what I've heard, it's the accommodations are a little better than, say, county, because people are there for a longer term. But whatever. Fortunately, I've never spent a night in any of it. Don't want to. Yeah, Dakota loves to do that, Russell. Tell you what, I've seen people in shock and awe when some of that stuff gets taken seriously. And they're like, oh, man, I was just kidding. It's too late. Yeah, my darn sport, it's been a drag car since 1982, but it's all completely legit. All the VINs match and everything, and it's a real 340 car. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat wants one of these wanted posters of Joe. That was a one-run thing, so there's a few floating around out there, Wendy. Maybe you can find one. That one's mine. Cope did that. I believe that was for the very first No Name Nationals. Rusted Metal Garage, how's it going? Unfinished Project puts up the link for Stinger Salvage. He was currently leading the No Name 500, 308 subscribers. Dakota says, I can 100% promise that I have never committed any felonies. No, you can't. You'd be amazed how easy it is to commit a felony in the most casual, unknowing way, and yet it can be something that nobody even thinks about and is not even enforced. It's just, there are so many laws, it's practically impossible. Hello, Beth Lee. How's it going? Beth Lee says, Happy Valentine's Day. Did you like my sarcastic Valentine's Day thumbnail? That's the question. Considering you and Dan's channel, I would say you probably would like it. If you haven't seen the thumbnail, let me know what you think. I asked someone, should I do something happy or something cynical or sarcastic? And I was told to go that way. So that's what I did. Unfinished Project puts up the link to Mean Street Mopar. He is at 275 subs. This is his third and final time through the No Name 500. So go check out Ken's channel, Mean Street Mopar. He's got a lot of neat stuff, and we're going to see what shows up in Sykeston. Come on, he's got to get through the No Name 500, and then he can re-register as an established channel. Brian Beeler is here. How's it going, sir? I was watching some of your latest video today. Stuff with Cletus says, any up-and-coming channels trying to make 500 for No Name Nationals? Well, those are the channels that Unfinished Project is putting up the link for. Stinger Salvage, Mean Street Mopar, Lone Wrench Garage, and Indecisive Garage are all registered for the No Name 500. Now, while the No Name 500 has gotten a little smaller every year, it's only because once they make it, they have re-registered as established channels. Our registration numbers are just fine. They're healthy and exactly where they should be. But we have fewer in the No Name 500 than we ever have, but only because, they had a backlog the first year and it's gotten smaller. But it's good. We have rock stars come out of the No Name 500 every year. And there is the link for Indecisive Garage. Tim, who was in here earlier, actually, he had a short about his smoked lasagna that he made. But he has Cope Racing Transmission's first E4OD trans brake transmission in his truck, and he races, and he loves it. And you can see more content on that and other things like smoked lasagna on his channel. So there's Indecisive Garage. Brazil says it's easier to commit a felony than it is to not commit a felony. I agree. I mean, look how utterly impossible it is. If you lawfully carry a gun, even in your glove box, you're one of those people. Look how impossible it is to stay out of the Gun-Free School Zones Act with the 1,000-yard radius thing. You can't do it. You can't do it. Look how many people unknowingly drive through some little obscure portion of that 1,000-foot with a school a half-mile away and don't even know it and commit a felony. And technically they do, but it's never enforced. Yeah, I mean, it's virtually impossible to not commit a felony. Screen. I'm gonna find out what that is. Could be a browser. I don't know. The Bigfoots and Mopar says, I've planned out my call-out video for NSB. Definitely will do one for Brazil. Have you heard from Brad this year? I have not. Brad has made some changes, I think, in employment and everything, and so I don't know, but I would love for him to come back. What a great guy he is. Brad from Poor Boys Garage. We would love to have him back. One-Eyed Cat says, felonies happen during most election years. I've got a story. I can believe that. Unfinished Project now puts up the link for Lone Wrench Garage. He is running last in the No Name 500, but he also has come up really quick. So he's hot on the heels of Tim at Indecisive Garage. He's got 45. He's got plenty of time. It's early. But he's registered, and he's making it happen. Beth Lee says, always go cynical and sarcastic. Okay. Blue Grit Garage says, I used to work at a commercial kitchen equipment contractor. There would be addendums to have multiple soft-serve ice cream machines in prisons to keep the inmates happy. Okay, sounds neat. But do those work? Because, I mean, the running joke is that they don't at McDonald's. I remember they used to have a killer deal on soft-serve ice cream at Farmington Dragway. And they stopped doing that, unfortunately. Now, Unfinished Project randomly puts up the link to Dougster Wolverine Garage, 272 subs. Dougster, 272? Are you gonna jump in and get your 500 and finally put your Cope shift pack in your torque flight and get your project together? Get your 500 subs, Dougie? Inquiring minds want to know. I still don't understand why Doug doesn't have 1,000 subs. Well, I mean, I remember Something was absolutely true. Buzz said, at the end of the day, it's your content. And doesn't mean you don't have good content. It just means it's content that people don't subscribe to. So some of my best videos that I enjoy the most are ones that don't get subs. So nothing wrong with that. YouTube is made to be a platform to share your stuff with a community of others. That's what it was made to be. Long before people worried about analytics, the algorithm, monetization, watch hours, and all this other stuff, people just posted videos because they wanted to share them. And so a lot of people just make that kind of content. There's nothing wrong with that. Heavens Mopar says, I had a warrant out for my arrest. I didn't even know it. Yeah, you don't have to know you have a warrant. I got a ticket in Idaho for going 10 over, paid the ticket, but after the due date. Idaho apparently didn't tell Washington. Crazy. I can totally see something like that happen. But you didn't get arrested, did you? Like, you didn't get arrested on that warrant, right? Bethany likes thumbnail. Well, good. I'm glad you enjoy that. Is it sarcastic enough? Should I have poured it on a little heavier? Dakota, I remember thinking, man, that guy wants a lot for that Charger when he had one for $4,000. It was a beautiful 68 Charger. Had a little bit of damage on one corner in the front end, included the parts to fix it. The car was low mileage, had nice paint, everything. Had a little bit of front end damage at $4,000. AC car, big block, was nice. Of course, this was a very long time ago. I remember seeing some nice ones for like $1,500 back in the day. Oh, that's all long gone. But man, you'd have flipped if you'd have seen what I remember being able to buy those cars for as a teenager. And I thought it was a lot of money because it was like twice what a Dart would be, right? 2 or 3 times what a Dart would be. I thought it was a fortune. Looking back, if you look what the values of those have done, wow. Unfinished Project puts up the link to Peckerwood Customs. I would love to see him make it as a spectator. Yeah, see, I knew you guys would like that thumbnail. Yeah, it's your kind of style. Stuff with Cletus says, the first No Name Nationals, I had just over 1,000 subs. Never know when your channel will hit. Just have fun and make videos. Great advice. And Cletus is at 35,000 now. Heavens Mopar says, I'll keep an eye out for a decent Charger for you, Dakota. Scott, how do you define decent? I would love to know what Scott's idea of a decent Charger is. Is a decent Charger to you, Scott? It has 3 out of 4 corners still left on it. I'm just wondering. Cope says, Blondie and I are on our way back from Chicago for Valentine's Day dinner. Cool. Did you check out my sarcastic thumbnail? No, it's not, Dakota. It's actually worse than inflation. It's the desirability of the car. Dan the IT guy says, thumbnail sarcasm percentage, he's thinking 89. Yeah, I could have poured it on a little more. Dakota said, what year was that? 94, maybe. I don't know. Something like that. I remember seeing a really nice one I really liked in 94 on a car lot. It was like $1,300. Big block car. Paint was a little rough, a little ratty, but it was nice. It was solid. I mean, it's amazing. Those things have just gone out of sight. Justin Hill says, hi from Idaho. How's it going? Good. So Scott did not get arrested on his warrant. Just had to go to court to get it cleared up. Buffalo Campo had 0 subs to First No Name Nationals. Well, when he registered for the First No Name Nationals, 2X Jeff had 0. I was his first subscriber. Unfinished Project puts up the link for Poor Boy's Garage. Buff says, but I went anyway. And you should. I mean, it's a family reunion for all of us to get to go there and have a good time. And that's what it's really all about. The whole idea behind the subscribers is just it helps increase the camaraderie and the fraternity, and people have to want it and invest and do that. And it's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Unfinished Project puts up the link for Cope Racing Transmissions. Go check that out. Dakota says 5 or 10 years ago, the Chargers were $25,000 all day. Yeah, they've just taken off. The Charger is kind of its own animal. Like, it doesn't share nearly as much sheet metal or anything like that with any of the others. It's pretty unique like that. Landon says, howdy, John and Peoples. He doesn't include me in Peoples. Dean says, any good charger can charge a flat 530 cold cranking amp battery in 4 hours. Blue Grit said, I had 0 subs for the first 2 No Name Nationals. Made it to all 3. Right on. But he's taken off. He put in the work and got the subs and did it. I think the testament to it is that people keep coming back. And when they come to the first No Name Nationals as a spectator, they always want to make it back as a participant. So I think the proof is in that. 38 says, Dakota, I know where there's maybe 3 68.9 Chargers sitting inside. I think the price is something like cold dead hands. Yeah, that's pretty common. Dakota says 4,094 would be like 8,500. Probably. That sounds about right. That's what I'm saying. Those cars have greatly outpaced inflation. It's not inflation. It's desirability. Well, we have 2 hours and 7 minutes and 50-some seconds left in the 45th day of the year. Time's flown by tonight. Got a good crowd in here. 38 says Walter parked next to me the first year. Yeah, cool guy. The One-Eyed Cat says, I got blessed into Road Toad Valiant's fraternal twins. She's a great wallflower. Yeah, Don has people who don't know it, Don actually has 2 of those cars. Not just the one he's brought to No Name Nationals. He's also got one with a slant 6 that runs really hot. Man, I hope you got the overheating under control on that car. Stuff with Cletus says, Destroyer 1320 lives real close now. Everyone needs to talk him into coming. I'm not going to talk him into coming. He's been there and knows how much fun it is. No one's got to talk Eric into being there. I hope Eric wants to be there. It's a lot of fun. Dakota says, I will probably consider getting in a shootout for a 6870 Charger. Well, you don't want to get in one with me because you won't get to enjoy it. Buffdale Campo says, maybe a few subs to second. It's a great event, even if you don't race, but help someone in the pits. Yeah, the fun is being there. Just be there. All right, don't go all New Guy's Garage on him, Dakota. Oh, man. Blue Grit Garage says, in a white Grand Marquis, not quite a race car. Yeah, well, whatever. $38 doesn't like Dakota's odds in that shootout. Well, it all depends on who he's in the shootout with. Heavens Mopar says, decent Chargers, anything decent compared to mine. You'll have to pay through the nose for a decent one. Oh, yeah, you will. Hey, Heavens Mopars, you should sell that one to Dakota. Dakota would love to make a trip all the way across the country to go get it. And you guys get it running on the weekend, and he can drive it back. Don't tell him, Ray. Don't tell Dakota where the guy is with the Chargers. Dakota will be out there in a ghillie suit stalking them. Dougster prefers black powder lead propulsion device muzzle load. You know what? That's just not me. Some people like a modern daily driver car. I like an older car. I like a modern daily driver pistol. Goes, I'm pretty mean in a gunfight. Where have you been gunfight trained? Been training longer than you've been alive. Don't tell me you're mean in a gunfight. Let's get in the shoot house sometime. We'll have all kind of fun with that. Dakota says, I've got to figure out which state is Nebraska. It's the cold one in the middle. Dakota, were you at my local Save-A-Lot recently? Dakota says, I don't need training. I've watched all the Clint Eastwood movies. They teach you how to pick the gun up every time you shoot the prop gun. You pick it up to make it look like imaginary recoil. It always cracks me up when I see that. But, you know, there's some guys who can't enjoy movies because the gun handling is so bad. I'm not like that at all. I mean, I see that it's terrible, but I still enjoy the movie. I got to tell you, the one I want to see is the one that'll probably never have anything done with it. That movie Rust. The one with Alec Baldwin where he shot the cinematographer. I kind of want to see that, even though I guess we'll never get to see it now. But I'm just, you know, just because there's been so much talk about it and I followed the case and everything. And I'm in the minority of people who think that the verdict was right. I think that the armorer should have done a little bit of time, and I don't agree with any conviction on Baldwin. People say that mostly because they don't like him. But look at the gun handling in Training Day. It's atrocious, but it's appropriate for the characters they were playing. I mean, Baldwin has to have that same latitude. The armorer was the one who was derelict in her duties. She was not qualified for that. She had no business being an armorer. Should have hired me to be an armorer. I'll go out there for however many weeks we're shooting, and let me tell you, the guns for that movie will run flawlessly. They'll have the guns they need, or we'll train people to whatever extent and proper training they need for the roles they're playing. Everything will work great. I know somebody who does that for a living, but he lives out there, and I wouldn't want to live out in LA to do it. And I'm sure I don't have the right politics. So it's all moot, but I could do the job really well, I think. DEI narcissist armorer. She was just utterly unqualified. She did not know what she was doing. She was incompetent. Dakota wants to spend 30 to 50. A lot of money. Dakota wants to spend money. He's eventually going to get what he's looking for. Just a lot of money to sink into that, especially at your age and for what it is and all that. And where are you going to keep it? Do you have a garage for it? Surely you're not going to leave it outside. It's not even complacency, Dougster. Complacency is a problem, I agree. It's worse than that. She was never competent for that job to begin with. She had no resume. There's no resume. Dakota's got a nice 69 Charger General Lee. The problem is it's a 1/18th scale die cast. Not a problem. Sounds pretty cool, actually. Dean Stevenson says, Eric the car guy, I was a technician who figured out all technicians except DNR Racing and 38 cheat. Unfinished Project says, when I fall into a Charger, I'm going to daily it and it'll live outside. Yeah, but you're not going to get one that costs over $322. I mean, so we don't have to worry about that. The Charger Unfinished Project falls into will look rough next to Scott's. So we don't have to worry about that. While Copa's on the move, he puts up Transmatic Shop #1, the one with no indoor plumbing and no heat, from 1975. Mohawk says, I don't know, but on-set safety warrants no weapon should ever be pointed directly at a person. Just saying. So how in the world do you ever film a movie when people have guns pointed at people? You can't do it. You can't do it. The movie Training Day could never have been filmed with that standard, Mohawk. That's what I'm saying. It's a rare case where you have to do things that would never be done in any other circumstance because they flagrantly violate the safety rules. But in movies, you can't make movies if you don't do them. That's why the armorer has to be there to allow these things to happen. That's what the armorer's job is. And the armorer did not do that job. The armorer's job is to allow rules of safe firearm handling to be broken in a controlled manner so that nobody gets hurt. That is a direct part of the armorer's job. Heavens Mopars does not think it's possible to have a Charger that would look bad next to his. I'll tell you what, though, I'm pulling for Scott. It's going to be great when he gets it done. We're past our time, but we're just hanging out. Still got a handful of people in here. I'm not keeping anybody from their plans, so by all means, we're past our time. I'll stay live for just a few more minutes, and I'll wrap it up. And still got a lot of people in here 2 hours in, so I got just a few more minutes, and I'll call it a day. Dean Stevenson says he bets Sam Mount Ballistics even cheats on his salad dressing. How do you cheat on salad dressing? I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. Dakota says, look at all the people Clint Eastwood killed. It's just part of it. Again, you could never have filmed any of the Dirty Harry movies unless you could break safety rules by having an armorer make that possible. I'm just saying. Buff says, we're not going to the shop tonight. It's just too cold. Me neither. I hate the cold. Man, I hate it. I'm looking at Sunday. The weather, the temperature is going to be decent, but it looks like it's going to be raining. I might do a bunch of cutting up brush and stuff on Sunday. I don't know. Heavens Mopar says, at least the front half of the car is good and solid again. Hey, man, just keep chipping away. One-Eyed Cat wants to see more Valiant updates. Scott's got a lot going on. I think one Monday at a time. I would like to have seen something like the Stone Soup thing done for Scott. That would have been really great. Scott is the most giving person. Buff says, why aren't there movie prop guns? They spend huge money on other props. There are movie prop guns. There are all kinds of them. And then some, they have to use different kinds of guns for different scenes. But there are movie prop guns. Sometimes you need a functioning gun so you can fire blanks out of it if that's what the scene calls for. Again, the armorer has to make sure of what's going in that gun. Mohawks have fun. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm not holding anybody. I'm just going live a few minutes over. You guys have lives. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate anybody that just comes in and stops and says hi. Scott started Stone Soup. I agree. I'd love to have seen that for Scott. Dakota saw a prop lever action gun for $150 at a gun show. Yeah, and there's some places where you can totally use non-functioning firearms in movies, and there's places where you can't, especially where you have to shoot blanks or you have to cycle rounds. Dakota thinks my lives are top-notch. Well, thank you. I really do try to put something into a live, like, you're not looking at just darkness and nonsense, and I try to have a decent studio, decent lighting, decent camera, decent mic. I engage with the chat. That's a big one. So But anyway, this is just 2 hours of community I set aside every week to hang out with you guys. And then sometimes we need to have a guest on, or we have something we want to announce or something like that. We do that too. But anyway, it's just what this time is. It's fun. Sean O'Brien says, Happy Valentine's, everyone. All right. Puzzled when he said he only wanted $150 for it. I paid less than that for a real Winchester 94, but it was a long time ago. Unfinished project says Dart Sport. Colleen's got a bunch of hearts and thumbs up. The One-Eyed Cat says Stone Soup happened because of the No Name Nationals community. It goes far and wide. Yes, it does. This is One-Eyed Cat says Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Or the 45th day of the year, as I call it. Yeah, I had, and if you didn't see the thumbnail, I had trees down everywhere. I mean, just big old limbs down, broken out of my pines. It's awful back there. I have all kinds of fence damage. I mean, just that limb right there is so big and so heavy, I'm afraid to even try to get it down out of the tree. I don't even know how I'm going to get it out. I think I'm going to hook it to the CRV and get up in the backyard really high and try to pull it so that hopefully it'll fall and not take out any more of the fence. I don't even know if I can do that. Mohawk says if you go back and watch some of the movies made after Bruce Lee's death, you can see the angle of the gun's not pointing at the person, smoke and mirrors. Yes, and it's noticeable that it is. And it's better when you don't have to do that. And some movies you can kind of get away with that stuff, and some you can't. Mike Ivan says, today is my grandparents' 100th anniversary. Wow. Wow. Well, my grandparents' anniversary would have been about 90 years ago, something close. Just let Jethro chew them up. It'd take him a while, but he'd go for it. I'll tell you what, if I'm pulling those to the front yard, he'll take a few for himself. A tractor would be better. Yeah, I can get that with the CRV. I don't think it'd be a problem at all. I think if I throw a loop around the bottom and straighten it out, and then get up there with a limb saw, I can get that thing out of the top. It's the only one that's going to be a problem is that great big one, but it is heavy. The biggest thing, well, one, I don't want it to fall and get the ladder. That's going to suck. But the other one is, which I don't have to have a ladder. It's a pine tree. I can climb it and get that lead out of the top. But I don't want to damage the fence anymore. If it does, it does. I just don't want it to. Danny Boyd says, I don't know either of my grandfolks' anniversaries or birthdays. I don't know their anniversaries. I know about when it is. I do know when their birthdays are, of course. Let's see. October 15th, 1907. January 19th, 1914. March 17th, 1917. And July 6th, 1921. Here we go. Got all four. I'm a number person. Land Yacht Garage says, hey, everyone. Trees are a lot stronger than you think. Oh, dude, I know. I've got 5 big ones I've been cutting up, but this one is snapped out of the top. So if I get a lead on the bottom, I can get up there, cut where it's still connected with a small. I'll take a big saw. We'll use a limb saw, get away from that thing. And then I'm hoping I can pull on the bottom out enough that when it breaks, it'll fall where I want it to. He does, Wendy, but he has put a hurting on it. He does. Yes, he does. Of course he does. He's got his tire, got his rope. Jethro and I try to get playtime about 20 minutes a day of just running and chewing on sticks and all that kind of stuff. Call it a Widowmaker. There's a lot of things Widowmaker, like the M60. Well, anyway, we're 10 minutes after our time, so I'll go ahead and wind down and wrap up. Brazil said it's good to keep up with my birthday and my wife's birthday and our anniversaries, all the dates I can remember. I hear that. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate you. Only one more hour and 49 minutes until the 45th day of the year is over with. And as a lot of us would say, good riddance. But anyway, no, it's good to see you guys. Thank you all for coming out. Johnny C., thanks for swinging by. Blasted with a 12 gauge and slugs. I'd never get away with that. If I could put enough Foster slugs in there to drop it, you bet I would. Be a lot better and a lot safer, but I don't think I can get away with that. I'm in town. But anyway, thank you guys for coming out. Make sure to check out Wednesday Tech Talk Live with Professor P in Dallas on Wednesday. We will be back here on Friday. But thank you all. Good night, and we'll see you next week.